Hope everyone's okay. Obviously, with what's going on in the world right now, it's kind of mental. I went to the shop this morning and got super anxious when I came home. For like the first time in probably about 3 years, or 3 years, that I felt this anxious about something. I've decided to just film the video here today on The Kite Runner. It's probably my second favourite book at the moment. My friend recommended this book for me. It's a long one. It's like 104,000 words. I was pretty much used to reading like 600, about 50 to 60,000 word books. Ones that you can just fold up, put in your pocket, read in a couple of days. This took me about 4 days, I think. This was the first book that I read when I was in isolation. And it's a pretty emotional one. This will be the whole subject of the review of this book. The emotions that you go through. The emotions you feel, everything that you feel, and how the author portrays it, and how it all leads up to the kind of, it starts off with Amir and Hassan. They're friends from childhood. It starts off with them flying kites in the park. They battle the kites, so you have to chop the strings off, and then somebody chases after the kite. Everything's going well, and then you just hit with the first kind of impact, the first emotion of what's just happened in the story. And this is like the running theme throughout the book, I would say. Everything's going okay again, and then boom, another thing, and then back to not back to normal, but everything's going, and then again, and then it's just a whole kind of circle in emotions and in the story. It's almost like the trauma that happens in it, and the trauma that happens from childhood is led all the way up to adulthood, and then he's able to release that, finally get rid of everything that he's been thinking, because with what happens in the story, that it happens like that. But for me, it was the emotions, the pure kind of physical and mental emotions that you feel, the author made you feel throughout the story, which is something I've never felt in a book. I read Animal Farm, Brave New World, all George Orwell books, and Patti Smith, Just Kids. They're all different books, but nothing that captured the emotions like this book did. This is the one that just made me feel everything. Sadness, made me feel super happy, made me feel angry, made me want to chuck the book across the room, and also made my heart stop beating. At one point, I swear, I was just here just reading it, and when that impact happens in the story, you're just you couldn't process what actually had just happened, and it almost felt like I was shocked, very shocked, and just everything stopped, and I was like, whoa, this just happened. So this is one thing I like about this book. It was more emotional for me, and that's why I kept wanting to read it, and why if anyone wants to read it or has read it, I'm sure you can say the same. The emotional roller coaster that it takes you through is just something that I hadn't experienced before in reading, or maybe even in films, or went to albums, because music is the one thing that gets everyone emotionally. But for me, I never really thought a book could do that for me, which is very naive. The one thing it taught me though is almost to just same thing, never judge someone and never judge someone on who they are. And everyone has their own story. The one thing it taught me though is almost just same thing. Never judge someone, and never judge someone on who they are. And everyone has their own story, and that's the big thing. The guy across the street from you has their own has their own story. No matter who anyone is, everyone's story is different. Where they come from, who they are. Again, like the one before, this definitely gets 5 stars. I think just the way it's written and the story behind it, as well as the emotions that you have felt. Keep going on about that, but that's the one thing, this made you feel every single emotion under the sun. I just hope that this makes you want to read it, and if you do read it, let me know. I don't really want to go into too much of the story. Don't want to ruin it for anyone. I want people to feel, read it because of the emotions it made me feel and how I feel about it. A book to make you feel loved, happy, sad, angry, hatred, pretty much every emotion under the sun. So yeah, The Kite Runner, 5 out of 5.